Aaron's descendants could serve as priests. All the other Levites serve up under them. Oh, I want to ask you a question. Why is it that we think that just because you got a little word that you call to preach and God haven't called you to preach yet, just because you have said a couple of things, or just because you're a little baby that can preach and you can teach and talk, but without no experience, you talking and preaching and haven't had no life experience to even prove or justify what you stand on is reliable to be talked about. This is where we go and we have little kids and they talk about ministering and preaching and have not testified yet that God is true in their life yet. That's why people look at them and they look at them crazy, because it look cute, but they don't know what's coming behind that yet. You might push your child up there to do all that, but then when they get older, they act a whole hellish mess. I'm gonna preach this. Yeah, who made that preacher? Yeah, when we look at this,
go ahead, preacher.
The messenger was a man who knew who he was. He didn't need nobody to tell him who he was. See, you know how people be sitting in church waiting on somebody to identify what you called to do. When are you going to wait on God? And when are you going to lay before God and let God tell you what you called? Oh my God, help me in here. Others had question about John, but not John. He knew exactly who he was. He knew God personally. Therefore, he knew God had sent him into the world. Now, this is very interesting to take notice of for Pacific Ministries here. He was from God, called and commissioned by God. Therefore, he knew exactly who he was and what he was to do. Why is it that you say you called by God, but you still sitting in the pew? You think God gonna call you and not commission you and not send you? Oh, come on up in here. How in the world can you have a church with 5,000 people and have 90 priests and there are 90 ministers and they're still listening to a message and not delivering one? Oh, here, when we look at this, this is very important. This is very important. That you think God will let the buggy go before the horse. You think God gonna give you a ministry before he give you a commission. Oh, this is what's wrong, because people have been allowed to be able to think that it's okay to go ahead and preach because Sister Mary do it and Sister Ketchup do it and Sister House Sauce do it. I can do it because I look at what they do. Well, what are you saying then? John was not the Messiah. Some men and women of God think they're the Messiah.
Go ahead, preacher.
Or if they don't say it, the way they want you to address them make you think like they're the Messiah. Oh, wait a minute, preacher, take your time. John was not Elijah.
All right.
Elijah was expected to return from the dead to proclaim the coming of the Messiah. In Malachi chapter 4 verse 5, he was expected to do several significant things: to warn the people, to anoint the Messiah to his kingly office, to arise from the dead, and to help select those who were to have a part in the Messiah's kingdom. John denied that he was Elijah in the person. And I wonder, have you denied you being like T.D. Jakes and Joyce Myers? Have you denied because somebody have told you you sound like this one and you talk like this one and you sing like this one? But have you denied, I'm not Joyce Myers, I'm not T.D. Jakes, I'm not, oh my God, I'm James Garrett. Oh yeah, when we look at this, it should be noted that Jesus did later identify John with Elijah in Mark chapter 9 verse 11. However, what Jesus meant was that John was Elijah in the spirit and not in person. Oh, we try to pick up personalities of people and not the spirit. Oh, come on up in here. It's, oh, let me share something with you. We need to learn not to act like the person, but pick up the spirit of the person. And when they are kind to others, you should be kind. When you see them nice, you should be nice. But you shouldn't wait on them, but you should pick up that likelihood of being able to identify with how they identify with things. Okay, what you saying? John was not the prophet. This prophet was thought to be another forerunner of the Messiah in John chapter 7 verse 40. Some persons thought he would be either Jeremiah or Isaiah. This belief was based on Moses' prediction that there would be a prophet like unto himself in Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 5. However, today most Christians interpret the prophet prediction by Moses to be Christ himself. In Acts chapter 3 verse 22 and Acts chapter 7 verse 37. So you're saying, why are you saying this? There is a second witness problem. What do you mean? We try to identify being everything else but who we were supposed to be. We want to be like everybody else but who God called us to be. We don't appreciate what God has gifted us to do and what God has told us to do because we don't see it as being valuable enough, because we look how other people treat other people. So you start picking up the habit or trying to identify, want to be like them and not want to be yourself. So now we got a second witness problem.
Go ahead.
What do you mean by a second witness? See, John was describing what a witness should look like when they're going after Christ. That they should identify that I'm not like nobody else but what God had called me to be. I don't care about my forefathers because even though they preach, but I'm preaching a different type of way. I'm not trying to be like my granddaddy. I'm not trying to be like my mother or my father. I'm trying to be like me. So what is the second witness problem? Yes. Ask your neighbor, what is the second witness problem?
What is the second witness problem?
I ask your other neighbor, what is the second witness problem? Because I need to know. Yeah. Now look at this. The lessons are clear that the servant, the minister or the layman of God must not, and this is where the second witness problem could come in at, claim to be the Christ or know any other great prophet. Oh, you know how you try to be the greatest and you want to be known as the greatest, and I never miss and I'm always on point, and did you like the way I preach? Did you jump up and down when I preach? Did you say hallelujah when I preach? Did I tickle your fancy and left you still wounded and distraught because you did not change in your heart but your flesh had a parade? Yeah, when we look at this, God is saying something, pretending to be some great man of God and not great. You're only great in your own eyesight because